Veronica, thanks for taking the time again to speak with us. Firstly, obviously, you've been around for this PFL event. Were you there Paris last year as well. Where do you rank this event amongst the other PFL events that you've seen last year?
I think I just the fights in the undercard to get to this, the finishes that we've had. I think this is the best PFL that I've been to. Of course, the main event we didn't get the same thing as last time, where
Mm,
Cedric walked out with a mattress, and then he was like calling out. And the thing, I feel that sometimes that makes it difficult. You see fighters coming off a really impressive knockout or anything really impressive, and then the next performance it's hard because how do you top that? How do you top a 9-second knockout where you walked out with a mattress and everything that happened? Like we saw Joaquin Buckley had that same issue, that he went and
yeah.
did that spinning back kick, and then everything else after was a bit of an issue because he was trying to, like, you can't replicate that. You
Hmm.
can't do that again, and that becomes like a lot of pressure. So, but just the fact to have a sold out arena, to have the how big it was, how invested the fans were, it was incredible. I mean, as a fan and as a fighter, like the amount of times that I was so excited, I was just like, oh, I hope I get to fight in Paris. So for it to give me that feeling, it shows me that this is, for me, the best event that I've been to in PFL.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And again, obviously here as media, but as a fan, I was getting goosebumps. I've never been to a stadium arena with that reaction, really and truly. But then moving on to yourself, obviously, great 2023 for you. Obviously, 100% record in those two fights. What have you got in store? Have you got anything to announce for 2024 yet? Or
Yes, I did sign my contract.
okay,
I also renewed my contract, so this would be my first fight in a new 4-fight deal, which was
nice.
great because I was kind of waiting to see what was going to happen, if they were going to give me one fight and then like renegotiate it after. But I am fully locked into the contract. I don't think I'm allowed to announce it, but it may be soon.
Nice. And how many ideally do you want this year? Obviously, you had two last year after having some time off beforehand.
Yeah.
Do you want to be more active than that, or do you think two is the right amount, really?
2 to 3. I'm in a little bit of a peculiar situation because Dan is my head coach. Dan also is head of fighter operations for PFL and amongst other things. And
Mm,
me as an athlete and as a fighter, I feel I still have a lot of growth to do, and I'll always feel that way. But
mm,
fight by fight, there's a lot of things that I need to adjust, and I think this has given me enough time to do so, but also grow as a fighter, grow as a person, and understand the sport a lot more. I don't think before I used to train so much and not really have a direction of where I was going or how to piece it all together. And
mm.
now to have that and to see everything in a different light, it's still a lot of adjustments to do because it's not something usual for me, although it should have been, but it's not. And it's been good. I would hope to get 2-3 fights this year.
Mhm.
Two minimum, three would be ideal. It just depends on what they give me. I heard that they're coming to Spain. I know that they have one more in contract to come to France. I would love to fight here. I
Yeah.
was able to be backstage for the first UFC Paris event, and I was able to do media for that, and that was an incredible. That was before I fought as well.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
I was there,
2022.
and I was like talking to these fighters, and I just had such an inspiration. So for me, this place kind of sparked like something special inside of me. So to be able to compete here would be really special. And being with Aries and helping out with the commentary and things, I feel like, even though I don't speak French, unfortunately yet, I will fix that, I promise. uh, I feel like French MMA is a big part of me and my story, so I would like to give a great fight to the French fans.
Nice, nice. Will you be at Aries tomorrow as well? As
Yes,
well, yeah.
yes, I will be commentating on that. But it's going to
Cool.
be in studio. It's going to be the first time that they do a studio event, and it's a little bit like the Apex. I'm not too sure what to expect because I haven't been in the studio, but I think it's great because it creates more opportunities for more fights, and
Hmm.
then you can move on. Like, obviously it's less cost to do things in studio, so you can start to build up fighters and give them name recognitions, so
Yeah.
then they can transition. Some fighters were making their debut, and like to go from making your debut in the Dome of Paris, that's a big jump. At least for them to have some experience before getting there, I feel like will benefit the fighters. Although fighters, of course, we always want a crowd, we always want people to entertain, and not only people to entertain, but they give us energy. Like for me, the crowd is so important. When I walk out and then anybody's like clapping or doing anything, for me it feels like they're giving me a part of energy that I wouldn't have without them.
Yeah.
So, and I know all fighters, feel the same. So it's special, but it's also good to take it step by step in order to grow as a fighter in the right direction.
Nice, nice. And talking about people that are having their debuts, Louis Lee Scott, obviously from Manchester Top Team, he's headlining with Pena for the title there. How much pressure do you think is on him to come in, or do you think he has no pressure because he's not really probably expected to win by the numbers or the odds? But obviously he's a very talented guy.
I mean, it's I think it's always very personal of a fighter. I've been in the position where I've had so many losses I can't even remember in the UFC, and it's like, oh, you must be on so much pressure because if you lose this, you get you get cut, and I'm just like, no, I'm on pressure because someone's trying to punch me in the face. Like someone's trying to take my head off. I'm not thinking about the contract. I'm not thinking about anything else, and I hope that that's his approach because it's regardless of everything around, in the end you're still in a fight and somebody's still coming out to get you, and he's a very talented individual that has learned and has evolved very much from fight to fight. And I mean, I was there in Newcastle where he got that sick knockout, and that was beautiful. I was blown away. I was on my feet, and to see him now is I'm very excited for him. I do think he has a very tough test because Pena, we know that he can go 5 rounds. We know that he's, from his, I believe his 4th fight, it was championship level in EFC. So it's somebody who's very accustomed to that. And given Lee Scott's last performance, he learned a lot that maybe I'm not just going to get him off in the first round with a clean shot. Maybe even if I land the perfect shot, it doesn't mean that the person's going to be knocked out. And that was a very important learning lesson for him, especially in a 5-round fight against somebody with so much experience.
Nice, nice. And then the last one from me, sorry, because I know we're getting shoved out of here. When I look at your situation, it kind of reminds me of probably Ian Gary a year ago, 2 years ago, is he self-proclaimed MMA nomad. He goes from gym to gym, really, and picking up and learning from there. Obviously, you talked about how you're accustomed to it now, but do you have like a preference of gyms that you like to go? Because you're obviously in Renegade a lot of the time, GP Top Team, doing a lot of your strength and conditioning over in with Paul as well in the Northwest. Do you have a preference of where you prefer to train, really? Or?
I currently I love the mixture of training at Renegade, training at GB Top Team. Obviously, I'm always consistent with Paul Reed, and I'm going to Henzo Gracie's in New York. I really love that. I feel a big difference because I've always been kind of like nomadic in my approach. Maybe not so much by choice because bear in mind I had a Venezuelan passport. That is not easy to stay in a country with that citizenship. Now, of course, I have the Portuguese, so that has solved a lot of issues. But the difference for me now is no matter if I go train in 4 or 5 gyms, I still have Dan Hardy. I still have my husband who oversees things and is able to be my head coach and to put things together. Sometimes you can learn great things from many gyms, but it's the putting together that's where the magic is. And I had nobody to help me, and I didn't even know where to start, and it was just overwhelming. And now I have, in my opinion, the best mind in MMA to help me with that. So even though it's not like a specific one gym that I go to, I have 4 different families.
Brilliant, Veronica. Look forward to what you've got in store for 2024, and all the best.
Thank you so much for your time.
No problems. Thank you.